My name is Adishri Jamkhedkar. I head the program portfolio of the German Center for Research and Innovation, which is a unit at the DAD. And it's my pleasure to be the host for this web talk series and your moderator today. In the web talk series that we're hosting this week on research careers in Germany, our aim is to give you a clear overview of the research landscape in Germany, and answer your questions such as what are the different kind of institutions where you can do your research, how does a career pathway look like for you, for a researcher or to become a professor or a PI, what kind of opportunities do you have in terms of funding. We will also try to give you some tips on your application and take a closer look at career opportunities in public health, which we actually already did in our yesterday's web talk. And tomorrow we will focus on pathways for women in academia and entrepreneurship. In today's panel discussion, we will focus on funding opportunities for researchers for individual mobility to Germany. And the idea is to help you understand the role of different funding agencies, which are being represented on the panel, navigate through several funding schemes which are available, and then also give you a couple of insights into the application processes, and some upcoming calls for application. But before we start, some quick instructions for the audience that we have here. Thank you so much for joining in these numbers. You can use the chat option or the Q&A option in your MS Teams browser or the app, wherever you're seeing this event live, and you can ask questions to the speakers. In case you know who you want to address the question to, please mention that as well. I will take that up. I will take the questions up in the end of the discussion. So we have a wonderful set of panelists today here, representing major funding, public funded agencies in Germany. Thank you all of you for taking out the time. Let me give the audience a brief introduction to your parts. Let me start with Dr. Franziska Lange. Franziska is the head of the DFG, the German Research Foundation Office in India. She's a neuroscientist by training from the University of Tübingen in Germany, following which she took up science management at the DFG office in New York, United States. Since 2014, she was responsible earlier for the DFG office in Bonn for collaborations between Germany and South Asia, particularly Vietnam, Thailand in Southeast Asia, and currently serves as the director of the DFG office, India, which has an office in New Delhi. Next, so warm welcome to you, Franziska. Next, I would like to introduce Anurupa Dikshit, who's my colleague in the office. She's a program officer at the DAD regional office in New Delhi and is responsible for the vast scholarship portfolio, which also includes PhD, COSP, EPOS, PPGG scholarships. We will learn about them shortly. Her responsibilities include managing these scholarships, the selections, facilitating academic exchanges, and supporting research collaborations between Germany and partner countries. She has over 15 years of experience in higher educational sector, and has a PhD, has an MPhil in German literature from JNU in New Delhi. Thank you, Anurupa, for being here. The next speaker is Dr. Rahul Banerjee, who's a professor in the Department of Chemical Sciences at the Indian Institute of Science and Science Education and Research, ISA, in Kolkata, where he's been leading research groups since 2021. His work focuses on crystal engineering, supramolecular chemistry, and materials design. He earned his PhD from University of Hyderabad. He has a postdoc from University of California, Los Angeles, and has been also a scientist at CSIR, in the CSIR National Chemical Laboratory in Pune. We also just heard that a research that he was working on in the United States also has recently won the Nobel Prize. So congratulations to you and your prior research team. Dr. Banerjee is also an ambassador scientist at the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation, promoting academic exchange between India and Germany, which the foundation is what he is also representing today here at the panel. Thanks so much, Professor Banerjee, for being here. And next up is Hans Westphal, who heads the German office for the Indo-German Science and Technology Center, the IGSTC. at the DLR Project Management Agency. He has been in this post since 2021. Prior to that, he was in the Asia division of the agency and was already connecting with IGSTC and its activities. He's been involved for several years in network projects for EU, India, EU, Southeast Asia, particularly with Japan and South Korea. And his academic background is in integrated European studies, and he has a postgraduate in public policy from Maastricht University in Netherlands. So thank you to the panel. Thank you so much. Now, let me start you by asking a very basic question to give the audience an idea of what exactly are these public institutions doing. So you represent the 4 main funding agencies for research mobility and research in Germany. If I am a member of the audience, a researcher trying to navigate through the research system, how would you explain your institution to me? So give me the core mandates of the organization and your key activities. You have 2 to 3 minutes for this. Let me start with Dr. Franziska Lange.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Adishri, for having us here today, and thanks for the introduction. So I'm representing the German Research Foundation. So in German, it's Deutsche Forschungsgemeinschaft. That's why DFG. And we are in Germany the largest funding organization for basic research. So this is the key point you need to take away. We are funding basic research at research institutions in Germany. So due to the fact that we are spending basically taxpayers' money, most of the funding would need to stay in Germany. That's why we are offering a lot of programs for research being done in Germany, mainly in regards to research projects. So actually projects being performed, salary for researchers, but also a little bit part of mobility. And here as a side note, we are supporting international collaboration within our funding program. So although we are a national funding agency, we are bringing in international collaboration in each and every one of our projects. So that's in a nutshell what we are doing, supporting research, but across borders.
Great, thank you so much, Franziska. Let me ask Dr. Banerjee about the profile of Alexander von Humboldt Foundation.
Okay, very good afternoon to all. As been mentioned, that I'm a professor at ISAR Kolkata. I was in NCL for some time, and prior to that in US. So I am representing the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation. I was not a postdoc. I mean, I didn't do a postdoc with Alexander von Humboldt Fellowship, but I did an experienced researcher program with Alexander von Humboldt Fellowship. Now, Alexander von Humboldt Fellowship is mainly dedicated for post-PhD programs. And so that means you can use this fellowship for your postdoctoral work at Germany, and also postdoctoral work once you return to your country, and then you become an independent researcher or a faculty somewhere, and then you can apply again for research funding to stay in Germany, to go there and work, and then enjoy the beautiful science that is happening. The collaboration is outstanding. Alexander von Humboldt Foundation has a huge network in India and also other part of the world, but especially in India. And also there are many opportunities for that Alexander von Humboldt Foundation provides. Post-PhD, as I said, postdoctoral, and afterwards experienced researchers, Alexander von Humboldt Foundation Award, Research Award, William Bessel Fellowship, and so on and so forth. So you may kindly take a look at the Alexander von Humboldt website. And I'm representing here as an ambassador scientist. So if any time, if you need any help, I will be more than happy to help you out to give some guidance and suggestions on how to write the research proposal, which is a very unique and important, let's put it, I used the wrong word, I stand corrected, an important aspect of getting the Alexander von Humboldt Fellowship. So the research proposal, because the fellowship actually believes in people, not the project. So therefore, if any help or suggestions are required during this meeting or afterwards, I'll be more than happy to share.
Thank you so much, Professor Banerjee. Sorry, I was on mute. yeah, thank you so much, Professor Banerjee. Hans, over to you. What is the IGSTC?
What is IGSTC? First, let me thank you for the invitation and the possibility to present IGSTC's programs today. IGSTC is a joint initiative by the Research Ministry from Germany, formerly BMBF, now it's BMFTR, and the Department of Science and Technology India. And it's an administrative platform to facilitate or to implement bilateral programs. And compared to DFG, for instance, we are more on the applied science, on the applied side. So we fund industrial research in R&D projects, and we have a focus on STEM. So we would exclude social sciences research. It could be a cross-cutting topic in some of the research projects, but we have a clear focus on industrial research, engineering, STEM. And at the core of IGSTC is our 2+2 program, which involves industries and academia in partnership on both sides. So you have to have 4 partners at least, but I will give you more details about that later on. And we also have a couple of fellowship programs for young researchers, for women researchers in particular. We offer workshops. We offer possibilities to have a first experience for Indian researchers in German industry. And we also offer a top-up component travel budget for an Alexander von Humboldt program in the follow-up to the so-called In the German Frontiers of Engineering Symposia. Yeah. And then we have a couple of MOUs with industry partners such as BASF from Germany, BPCL from India, Tata Steel from India, who are part of the existing programs, but there's also extramural programs coming up which are financed through BPCL in one example. So that's basically IGSTC. And we have up to 4 million euros per site per year available for these programs. Thanks.
Thank you, Hans. Thanks also for the positive, ending it on a positive note about the funding that's available for researchers. So now let me ask my colleague Anurupa. Anurupa, can you give us an idea about the DAD?
Okay, good afternoon and thank you. I thank everyone that I was invited to this platform. DAD is a funding agency, and I think everyone knows DAD is synonymous with scholarships. So we are the largest funding agency for individual mobility and individual research. We have scholarships for masters, we have for PhD, we do scholarships for all subjects at all levels, except for long-term postdocs. Rest we have. So I think rest I can answer the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Anurupa. I actually do have a follow-up question for you, which will also get us started into the discussion on opportunities for individual mobility of researchers. So in your title, Anurupa, in your designation, it mentions that you're responsible for PhD, COSPI, EPOS, PPGG. We also hear about other schemes such as RISE, HSK. What are these different kind of schemes? Can you outline and tell us who they are, targeted towards?
Okay, let's start with RISE, because RISE is for Germans to come to India to do an internship, short internship. Apart from that, there are other programs for which Germans can apply, but those we do not advertise here, because for RISE, we need projects which the Indian institutions offer, where the Germans will come, the students will come and do their research. Then we have, of course, starting for bachelor's, summer language course, the HSK, Hochschulsommer course, that's for German. And for masters, we have a few programs. One is the postgraduate courses for working professionals to do a master's with work experience. Then we have study scholarships in the field of fine art, architecture, music, dance, performing arts, visual communication, and design. This is a very, a lot of programs are covered under this. And then we have one in public policy, good governance. More than that, we don't have for masters. But our flagship program is our Forschungsstipendium, the PhD program, which is open to all subject areas. And apart from the ones who want to do PhD in Germany, we also have a program for those who are already doing their PhDs in India to do part of their PhD in Germany. And since last year, the head office has also started offering short-term programs, 2 to 12 months, and also a 6-month postdoc program.
All right, thank you, Anurupa. Then my next question is then for Professor Banerjee. So you already mentioned earlier that the AVH is then for post PhD candidates, those who are looking for research opportunities. Can you name a few of these programs which might be relevant for international researchers, particularly in India?
Well, of course, I mean, in the AVH Foundation, as I said, that if you go to the AVH Foundation website, you will get these full details. But that being said, for Indians, what I feel, if you ask me, if you want to go and do a research in Germany, the best would be post PhD for the young researchers, post PhD. The postdoctoral fellowship, Humboldt Foundation, and afterwards, after the PhD, when you become a young researcher, then you can apply for the research profile or the research fellowship for the experienced researcher. These are two different. They are very well funded. You get a fellowship support, which is close to 4,000 euro. You get support for the experienced researcher at the moment. Plus, you get some lump sum amount for the airfare for the first time only. And this can also be split into multiple sectors, which means that you could go and spend for 6 months and after come back, and then next year go for 6 months and then come back, and the following year go for 6 months or 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, based on your, it is very flexible, and it is absolutely outstanding. Only caveat or the catch over here is that your research proposal must be, must present some uniqueness. It should not be a routine proposal. This is very, very important. I have delivered some talks regarding this in Kolkata and in suburb regions, and I have told everywhere that you must make sure you put some effort on the research proposal. This is very, very important. And those who are listening, I must emphasize this particular fact, that don't take it for granted that if you write whatever you will write as a research proposal will be accepted. No, it will not. You must make sure that your research proposal is well thought about, exactly like a research paper. How do you write? When you are writing a research paper, you don't write it within 2 weeks or 3 weeks time. You don't. You spend time on it. So therefore, research proposal should be like that. Please make a note of it. Now, and regarding the postdoc also, postdoctoral fellowship also, it is exactly the same. You also have to find a mentor and then write a research proposal, and eventually it will be reviewed, and you will receive the fellowship. So these are the two. There are other, as I have already mentioned, that in terms of fellowships, in terms of fellowship, you have Humboldt Research Award, you have Humboldt Frederick William Bessel Research Award, and so on and so forth. But these are the most explored research fellowship that at the moment Humboldt Foundation provides. And I would recommend, like I did, young researcher or the students, I don't know your profile, but if you are listening, please take the advantage of it. It's outstanding. And as I said, there is a motto of Humboldt Foundation, or let's put it in this way, catch line of Humboldt Foundation: once an Humboldtian, always an Humboldtian. So, so you can, even if your fellowship is over, then you are coming back, then after some time you can take up the opportunity to write another program using the alumni network, and then again go to Germany. So you are seeing that the fellowship is there for you, for you to take. So please take the opportunity and avail this fellowship and explore the beautiful country. I have learned a lot and explored and enjoyed my stay in Germany. So
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Professor Banerjee. Francisca, where does now DFG's offers come into this? So we saw DAD for PhDs, some for masters, AFRH for postdocs. Where does the individual research get funding in DFG, like mobility for individual researchers?
So DFG funding basically starts kind of the same as with the AVH after your PhD studies. So once you have completed your PhD and have your diploma in your hand for that, you could apply for funding at the DFG. So, and in contrast to what Anurupa and also Rahul talked about, the DFG is mainly looking into the project. So we are not looking solely into mobility. Mobility can always be a part of a research project. But mostly, as also Rahul Banerjee pointed out, write it as a research paper. So take note of what you really want to do, and then the DFG could cover whatever is needed for that. So we don't really set specific lines. We fund all different fields of research and sciences, and then we make things possible. So whatever your ideas are, being it with a researcher in Germany, so a collaborative research project, or the research posted in Germany, we would have funding options for it, being it for a short-term stay integrated into a German project, or being an individual researcher coming to Germany, either directly after your PhD as a postdoc for up to 2 years with a Walter Benjamin program, or with a full research grant for up to 3 years, where your own position and then, of course, your own project would be funded with consumables. The more advanced you would get in your career, the more complex project funding options we would also have. But for, let's say, your first connection to Germany, these two options to either get in contact with a researcher and have a collaborative research project and come time and again to Germany, or invite your partner to India, and then maybe come to Germany and be fully integrated in a research project for a longer period of time. That basically would be the first steps that the DFG can offer in regard to collaborations with the German lab or as an Indian researcher coming to Germany.
Great, thank you, Francisca. I'll come back with a couple of questions related to some of the points you mentioned earlier. Then to you, Hans. Can an individual researcher apply for, let's say, like a conference travel to IGSDC that he wants to take up, like a conference in Germany? What are the options for individual researchers for getting funding from IGSDC?
Yes, so travel to individual conference is not our main focus, but we have a very mixed portfolio of programs that we can offer. So for individuals, we already start with some of the programs at PhD student level. So for instance, we have the very popular industrial fellowship program. At the moment, this is a one-sided program, so it's only for Indians who plan to go to German industry or to a research organization which carries out industrial research, such as Fraunhofer, for instance. So that's also an option. Many people go to companies such as Airbus, BASF, so the larger players, but we've also seen many people who go to startup companies in Germany to gather some experience in this environment and to carry that back home. This is, as I said, offered for PhD students, but there's also a postdoctoral component, and the PhD student component is up to half a year of a stay, and the postdoctoral component has up to 1 year and also a bit more funding. So you would get travel costs, a stipend, and so on. This is one option. Another option is the paired early career fellowship program. And why did we set up this program? We saw a large stream of Indians coming to Germany, But we also wanted to have one stream which goes the other way around, to give German researchers the opportunity to explore the sometimes unknown potential which is there in India. So this is still something that we see a lot, that people look to the US, they look to Japan or other European countries, but the strength which have developed in India over the last couple of years are sometimes still unknown in the German research community. And it's always good to also have people who go to India and who can then spread the word and make an experience on their own, also about the beautiful country and the culture and the people. So this is for people who have a permanent position, but permanent position on our side in Germany is defined as also somebody who does a PhD and has a stipend, or many times people already have a position as a researcher then at the university at this level. In India, it's sometimes a bit later after the PhD. So that this is a basic requirement, the permanent position or a scholarship then in a way. This is for short-term stays up to 1 month to visit each other. We have a program called WISER. For female researchers, also a permanent position is required, and over a duration of 3 years, you can have annual visits, and we fund that with travel costs and up to 15,000 euros. And we've introduced a paired mode also for the WISER program. And maybe a comment in between. So all this information is available on IGSTC's website, igstc.org. So the link can be shared in the chat. I think. Yeah, these.
Thanks.
Yeah, this was already some of the programs.
We will also post links. Yes, please.
Interject, Hans. So Indian research community, as far as I am aware of, from undergrads and the grad students in ISER Kolkata or nearby institutions, I must say, they are fed up with US now, completely fed up. So therefore, I think Germany, most of the people these days would like to know how they can do a PhD or a postdoc in, especially in Germany, among the European countries, especially in Germany. So I would strongly recommend both DFG and also IGSTC is not meant for that particular purpose, but for the German government to think about this a bit more, and how to facilitate more PhD programs or PhD fellowships for the Indian student community. It will be highly enriching for both the countries. This is my opinion. And for the IGSTC, there is this 2+2 program, which is outstanding. But often or not, we get a lot of difficulty to pulling an industry partner together. So perhaps this part, this 2+2, if this 2+2 thing could be made little flexible, that would also help the Indian scientific community as well, especially those who are working on the basic sciences, especially not the engineering sciences, but especially those who are. If we can get +2, of course, it is fantastic. That is good. But if not, it should not be chucked out from in the beginning. So this is my request to the IGSTC to think about it. Okay, that's
Thank
what.
you,
Sorry.
Banerjee. Yes, thanks.
My sincerest apologies.
Thanks for bringing in that. No, that helps. We will address some of these things also at the end in the last segment of the web talk. So no problem. Thanks for bringing in the challenges from the researcher perspective. So my next question is addressing a little bit towards mobility, cooperation, what gets covered under these funding schemes. So Franziska, earlier you mentioned that if you have a nice proposal, you have a solution for funding from the DFG. What does that mean? So does the DFG also cover like materials, equipment, you said consumables? So what kind of support exists then for an applicant who applies as an individual capacity?
Basically everything that is needed to realize the project idea. And here you can think of really the full package. So if that person that is applying is not yet on the full position at the university or an institution, the full salary could be covered by our research grants. plus consumable. So let's say, as an example from the biomedical field, he or she could apply for smaller instrumentation that are project specific, but of course also consumables like lab materials, like antibodies, things like that. So whatever is needed for that specific project. But if we're now talking for international collaboration, for bringing in international partners, also that specific part could be covered by us. So needed travels abroad or bringing individual researchers to the project in Germany, that could be also covered within our research grant. On the sidelines, of course, visiting to conferences is also needed for the research career. So this could also be clubbed into that research grant. So we kind of provide a full package because we think the researchers know best what is needed to realize that project. And so they can apply for basically everything they think is necessary. Of course, reviewers have to understand that. They have to follow up on that and they make a checklist whether that is really needed. But most of the times, the researchers know best on how to realize things. So yes, mobility is in it. Research consumables are in it. Even in some of the individual grants, you could apply for bigger instrumentation if the project needs that. So we've seen like collaborations where an MRI was needed and it was then part of the project because it had to be applied for. Or let's say a specific computer with a high CPU, if that's needed for the project, then you can apply for that. So quite flexible. We kind of make it a point that our projects are as flexible as one needed. We have a lot of modules, a lot of flexibility also in regards to equal and equal, let's say, how to say it, about diversity and also equal care, equal chances for people. So even childcare, if needed to realize that project, could be applied for. It's yeah, a package for everything.
Thanks, thanks for highlighting that. That's very useful for our audience. I'd like to bring in one point. There have been questions in the chat which also address, are there opportunities for women? Right now you said additional support. So many of these institutions also offer support for family. Career breaks can also be mentioned, and that would not be, that would not rule out your application and so on. We have a session tomorrow, which focuses on opportunities for women researchers in Germany. But this is an interesting point to note for applications for those who are interested in knowing what else does the organization offer me apart from just the stipend or the scholarship. Hans, some of IGSDC schemes also cover these consumables or additional material that's needed for the research project. Do you also cover additional staff that might be needed to realize this project? Can you highlight shortly these points?
Yes, so not so much the mobility programs, but the 2+2 programs cover most of these things. So we have once had the discussion about also financing childcare and so on. Unfortunately, at the moment, we don't have that. But in 2+2, you can spend money on consumables, on travel, on wages for your researchers or the salaries. Material, equipment, pretty much everything that you need. In the mobility programs, yes, in the WISER program for women, you can finance also a research assistant and consumables and so on, whereas in the PECFA program, this is rather really only mobility and not much else. And we finance like the costs of living that you have. So when you have the PECFA award, then you get around 2,300 euros per month to pay for your stay in the other country and your cost of living there. So these are the main components.
Thank you, Hans. Anurupa, my next question is to you. So DAD funds mobility for researchers, but there's also funding available or offers available for integrating them better into Germany with language courses, for example. Can you give one or two sentences on that?
Our scholarships are a complete package. You get stipend, health insurance, travel money, and also a language course integrated into your program. So all programs, masters, any long-term program will come with a component of language learning. So it could be 2 months, it could be 4 months, it could be 6 months, depending upon the various programs. So apart from that, the DAD also gives money for self-decided programs. I choose a program and do it. There is a language course also for the spouse that also is covered by the DAD. So it is a complete package, and DAD does take care of its stipendiaten awardees. During COVID, DAD handheld every awardee and was able to safely bring them back to their country, to India. So I think even though the stipend might not be so much as it might be in the EU programs, but uh, they're good. They take care. It's like a family, you know. One, I feel even if you don't get enough money, but you are taken care of otherwise, it's very good.
Thank you. Thanks, Anurupa. I would like to move to a question which would like to address the subject-specific funding. So some of you have already mentioned that in your introduction or earlier. Anurupa, let me start with you again. The PhD scholarships are open across disciplines. So are some of the others. Can you highlight, is the DAD restricting any disciplines? How is funding available for social sciences for those who want to do a PhD coming from that field?
There are a lot of, basically for PhD, you can apply for any subject coming from any background. We don't have any restrictions. We don't have any reservations for X subject or Y subject or X gender or anything else. We don't have any reservations. The only reservation is your academic excellence, as I say, but we don't. For undergraduate programs, we don't have one full full course scholarship. We have for masters. So we have within the public policy of good governance, it's a social sciences program. Then under the development related postgraduate courses, uh, there are a few programs which are social sciences. There are also other sciences covered, but we don't have any specific PhD or any master level scholarship in STEM subjects, management, medicine, pharmacy, law. We don't have, but others we have. Any other program one wants to apply to, can always connect with us.
Thanks, Anurupa. There is a question in the chat which is interesting, which I'm going to ask you right away. Is there an age restriction to apply for the PhD programs?
No, there is no age restriction. There is what we check is that your last degree award is not older than 6 years. But here also there are relaxations. In case of maternity, for every child you get 3 years. In case of chronic illnesses, and if you are able to document it properly, we also have relaxation there. But otherwise, there is no relaxation. Last degree award should not be older than 6 years. For those who are applying for a binational or sandwich program, PhD registration formal should not be older than 3 years. There, the 6-year thing does not apply.
Thanks, Anurupa. And similar, that would be similar for many of the other funding programs or institutions here. And there is relaxation available for many such conditions. So do look up those when you apply for particular programs. Francisca, the question to you is there, is the funding restricted to certain disciplines? Is it open? Where is funding available the most for which discipline? Is there something like this for DFG right now?
No, luckily there isn't. So in a way, we proud ourselves that we are independent from anything. There's no top-down restrictions in regards to topics, and also not in regards to regional priorities. So our researchers that applied at our funding instruments, they can come with whatever topic they think is important in basic research. So we always say from A to Z, from archaeology to zoology, everything is possible. All fields of sciences and humanities can be covered, social sciences, of course, as well. And then also there, international wise, everyone could be integrated. So if a researcher currently situated in Germany could bring in collaboration partners from whatever country he or she deems necessary to be needed to fulfill the project, in the way they think they want to have it. So there are no restrictions. And also to pick up the question of the age limit, as also the colleague from the DAD said, there are no age limits per se, but then in regards to when was the last award been given, so when was the PhD finalized, then there might be some restriction on whether the applicant would be eligible for, let's say, a stipend to come to Germany for the early postdoc career, or for a later on postdoc career to be an independent researcher. So there are some restrictions in that regards, but it always depends on the career steps the applicants are in. But in general, age is not a limit. It's rather a career stage limit on the DFG side.
Thanks, Franziska. Happy to hear that. Similarly, I would like to ask Dr. Banerjee, is there something that's different for the AVH?
Well, as I said, in this particular case, the fellowship that if you are asking for the fellowship timeline or fellowship.
No, so subject areas would be one question, and if there's any distinction from what the other colleagues have mentioned in terms of age restrictions, in terms of restrictions for when you've completed your last degree, and so on.
So there are, of course, for postdoc and the experienced researcher, it is there. The age restriction is there a little bit, but it is very flexible. If I remember properly, that the age restriction for the postdoc is about 6 years post PhD, and the age restrictions for the experienced researcher for that they can apply is 12 years post PhD. So I think it's quite a bit of time post PhD where people can apply for fellowship. Beyond that, also there are opportunities. I mean, it's not that there aren't opportunities. There are, as I said, Humboldt Research Award is there. There are other fellowship programs are there, which you can avail even if you are, let's put it in this way. If I would have wanted to avail a fellowship, Humboldt Fellowship at the moment, I finished my PhD in 2006, which is almost 20 years ago. So I do not qualify either for the postdoc, neither for the experienced researcher. So I would have had to go for some other fellowship programs, which is also available in Humboldt Foundation. So there are, even for the very senior researchers also, Humboldt Foundations are willing to provide funding. But that, as I said, at the end of the day, everything depends on the quality of the research proposal and the approach. So this is very important. But if you ask me, honest opinion, I would say that these fellowships are best utilized when you are young. They are not that best utilized when you are of my age. Let's put it this way. It is my personal opinion, to be very honest, not catering to everybody. But if this fellowship, if you take when you are a postdoc or a young researcher who has just started his or her career, go and spend 6 months in Germany, you will have lots and lots of energy, and you will interact with everybody. You will learn a new culture. And I mean, exactly like DAD, Humboldt Foundation gives you an opportunity, fully paid 3 months language course, which I will ask. I mean, please take that opportunity. I didn't. It was a mistake. So please do that. It provides insurance. It provides facilities for your spouse. It provides for stipend for your children, and so on and so forth. I mean, who does that? So please, by all means, take this as an opportunity. This is a message that I am trying my level best to circulate throughout India.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Banerjee, also for bringing in like personal personal anecdotes and motivation to encourage the participants to apply. I would like to close this segment by asking Hans
So one
a
more,
question.
sorry about it. And I just saw one chat. They're saying that Humboldt Foundation does not differentiate between science, humanities, social science. Everything is science. Science means you learn something new. That's the foundation of science. It's us who has changed it to social science, humanities, political science, so on and so forth. Everything is knowledge. So Humboldt Foundation does not distinguish. If you are good, if you have a mentor in Germany, if you want to go and work in Germany, if you have a PhD degree, you are welcome to submit a proposal via Humboldt Foundation. I have given the link of Humboldt Foundation. If you are trying to get my information, what I do, what are my information, just type in Google my name. I am more or less available in Google. So you should be able to get it. That's it.
Thanks for that
I'm done.
input.
Sorry.
We will. No problem. Thanks. That's a helpful input. We will also circulate information on all these programs that you've mentioned, links to the websites and so on, over emails to the participants later. Hans, I was back to you. What I was trying to ask you was, so you mentioned that the focus of IGSTC programs is largely on STEM, looking at research application, industry is involved. Can you highlight a couple of themes that IGST's programs are currently focused on? So you also have for some of the schemes you have laid out like a larger subject area. In sustainability, there has been with AI involvement. Can you give the audience a picture of what this looks like?
Yes, of course. So the only program which has a real defined topic are our 2+2 calls. So we have annual calls for proposals. Last year we had AI for sustainability as a topic. This year it was advanced materials. And yeah, compared to the other agencies, it's more top-down actually. So the two ministries pick topics which they think have high social relevance at the moment. So what we see a lot in the 2+2 calls are environmental sciences, energy is a huge topic. Obviously, AI has come up as a cross-cutting topic in all these areas. We have a lot of material research, production technologies. So also topics where the two countries have known strength. And in all the other programs, we are rather open, but it has to be in the STEM field. And everything somehow is an ecosystem around our 2+2 program. So we consider the, I would say, smaller programs as a pre-step to getting to a 2+2 project proposal. For instance, the workshops that we support, if possible, if the topic of our 2+2 call is known early in advance, then people can apply for a workshop as a preparatory step for a 2+2 application then in 1 year. So this is a good chance to develop your consortium into something which is ripe for a 2+2 proposal, because we expect technology readiness level 3 to 4 at the beginning of a project. So you already need to have some kind of pre-work in the field, and then over the duration of the project of first 3 years, you're supposed to bring the project from, let's say, technology readiness level 3 to 5. And if successful, we then have an extension phase of another 2 years, which receives additional funding. So for the first 3 years, each site, so German site, Indian site, would receive around 500,000 euros. And then second phase would be around 200,000 euros for the last 2 years to bring the research even closer to the market. Another part of your question was about age restrictions. In the paired early career fellowship program, obviously we have a maximum age of 40, as it is for early career researchers. In the 2+2 projects, for instance, we don't have an official age limit, but when we see that a researcher is close to retirement, yeah, then we ask the question whether any handover to somebody else in the team, which makes sense, is possible, to at least have that perspective, because otherwise, when the connection breaks down, when the person retires, that could be a problem for the whole consortium. Yeah.
Great, thanks, thanks Hans for this input. So for the audience, if you have noticed, the funding schemes are available for every stage, and you can also go from one stage to the other. So it helps you if you're a PhD, you start from, you know, some of these for bachelors, for masters. You also have then PhD, you can move to different organizations for their funding, and then also see that if you have research that would go to the market, even as a senior researcher, you're able to apply for different funding schemes. So the portfolio is quite wide for all of you. So do take a look at that to see at which research stage you stand and which of these programs might benefit you. Professor Banerjee had earlier mentioned about the changing shift in researchers, you know, where they would like to go for their research now, considering the geopolitical shifts that are happening right now. I have one question now for Franziska and to Hans, from your perspective from Germany, and then later we will move on to some tips and audience questions. We hear that in Germany, so there have been funding cuts overall, also in Germany that's been happening. And to meet these challenges, many of the institutions have either consolidated positions, cut some positions, projects, international cooperation. At the same time, Germany is also announcing new programs, is continuing to invest in research and innovation. So you hear of the high-tech agenda of the BMFTA. You also hear the new research clusters have been announced and may also have new positions come up. So as an international researcher, what does this signal? Where is, especially in the context right now of insecurity, of what's happening elsewhere in the world, and positions being cut or funding not being available anymore. Where does Germany stand right now? If you also have an institutional stand towards these, or a message towards the researchers coming towards Germany, please give your input.
Maybe then I'll start from the DFG perspective, and I think also from the perspective of the German research landscape in general. It's still pretty good funded if you compare it to the worldwide situation. So there's still a lot of money moving into the system, and now with the developments worldwide, we're still putting more and more money in it. So you might have heard of the Global Minds Initiative, bringing more money for early career stage researchers to come to Germany, not to necessarily stay there, but have a part of their research career as part of the German system. So I think that's a main part that a lot of the funders and a lot of the organizations are stressing right now, that Germany should just be on the list of your career stages, so that you think of Germany as maybe a step in between, or just as a way of getting connections worldwide. And for that, money is there. I would term it like that for short-term stays and for, let's say, a postdoc or for an early career step, you would find funding, and you would find a lot of options to apply for funding opportunities. I mean, we are representing here the main funders, but they're not all of them. There are so many more where you can avail funding, and you just have to have a good idea and make your homework, get in contact with German organizations prior to that. Look whom you could work together with, find a host, and then if you develop a great idea, you'll find funding for that. So I wouldn't point the situation quite now like it's a dire situation, you won't get funding. No, if you have a good idea and you've made your homework, you'll have a chance to come to Germany and spend some time here, and then plan ahead from there on. I mean, who knows what's in 5 years, but for right now, for your research career, I think Germany is the place to go. And yeah, there's a lot of funding opportunities available.
Great, thanks, Franziska. Hans, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, so I think the key word here might be stability. So, I mean, at least for IGSCC, we haven't seen any budget cuts. We can still offer all the programs as we offered them over the last couple of years. I mean, over the last couple of years, the portfolio of programs even grew. I think at the moment we see all this geopolitical developments, and Germans tend to be sometimes a little bit careful, and maybe there's not too many new developments. And the interest from India in Germany is growing considerably, and vice versa. Also, the interest in India is growing tremendously. So we might have what would maybe be needed would be even more programs, more funding for specific Indo-German cooperation. And we might see that in the future. At the moment, it's stable, as I said. But maybe to pick up one of the thoughts or one of the comments that Professor Banerjee mentioned a couple of minutes ago, when he said that people are turning away from the US and are now focusing on Germany. At least at the student level, I heard many times that students from India focus a lot on the university rankings. But I think many people don't really know that we have a very fragmented landscape, research landscape in Germany. So we don't only have the big, large universities, which you see in the rankings, but we also have Fraunhofer, we have Helmholtz, we have Max Planck, and so on. And if you add all of them, so if you would merge them into one university, the international ranking would be quite different. So I think the quality which is there does not really show in the rankings. So Germany is a real opportunity for Indian students also, or later when you become a more senior researcher, to pursue a research career in Germany. And connections to industry are very close. When you go to Fraunhofer or also in some of the Helmholtz institutes, you're always close to industry, and sometimes people jump from academia to industry if you want to have a shift in your career. So there are many opportunities that can be used.
Thank you, both of you. That is definitely a positive note for all of us here. I would like to address the question of any tips for our applicants here. Do any of you have upcoming calls for applications or ongoing calls that you would like to highlight to our audience here? Let me address it. Anurupa, we have the PhD scholarship applications call open, coming to a close soon. But do you have any tips for the applicants in general for a PhD scholarship application? What makes it a good application for the DAD?
Two programs are coming to close on the 21st of October. One is the full PhD. The other is the one where you do a part of your PhD in Germany. And as Professor Banerjee mentioned before, research proposal is the heart of the whole application. So the better your proposal is, the more thought out, thrashed out the proposal is, that's the best. We don't know people personally. It's only through their proposal that they will talk to us, to the selection panel. So proposal is very important. Of course, we need a letter of acceptance from the German side. That is also a mandatory part. Otherwise, the other documents and things, they're the standard for anything and everything. So proposal, again, research proposal is very, very important. People who plan to apply should put in a lot of effort, talk to your Indian supervisors, past professors, even connect with the German professor and put together a proposal in consultation with the prospective host. That will make a lot of difference.
Thanks, Anurupa. Some of the audience members have been asking the question of where do you find your hosts? So how do you go about looking for a host, a potential research institution for you? Where do you find this set of informations?
Well, the first source is the professors in your own university. You have to talk to them. Then one can maybe also attend some conferences where some German professors are attending. You can also go to those publications in which your subject related research is published. Apart from that, you can also look at those seniors who are currently in Germany and doing research. They can also guide you. And we also have certain links which one can use. Keeping in mind, there are two ways of doing PhD in Germany. One is the individual PhD, the way we do it in India. And other is a structured PhD where the topic's predefined. You have coursework, you work with a group of professors, with a group of students, duration 4 years. So those people who would rather be working in a team of other researchers working in similar subject area should go for structured PhD. Those who want to be innovative, decide their own topic, should go for an individual PhD. But I would say one should have very disciplined approach to research, a lot of confidence, and a lot of organization at your own level, because then you're alone. Although you have the possibility of choosing your own subject, but in any case, proposal is the most important thing.
Thanks, Anurupa. I will move on to Professor Banerjee. You've already mentioned in your inputs so far a couple of tips for the applicants. I've encouraged people to have a kind of like a unique and excellent application. You, I'm sure, will get a lot of queries since you've dropped your contact details and so on. Are there two tips that you can give to researchers who would like to apply for postdoc positions with AVH?
So that's a very good question. So I have been a reviewer for these postdoctoral proposals for quite some time now, almost 10 years. That being said, maybe a little less. And I have reviewed multiple proposals myself, and probably about 8 or 10 of my own students have completed their Humboldt postdoc at Germany. So 8 or 10 of them successfully. Now, the reason I've been continuously saying about the research proposal. Now, another thing I completely forgot to mention is that make sure that your research proposal is not too lengthy, because there is not only there is a page limit in the research proposal, but you must make sure that the message that you are trying to tell should come out very easily. It should be graphically represented as much as possible, because a picture says 1,000 words. So please make a note of that as well. And overall, you must be very clear about how much work that has been done. Please make sure you do not try to hide it, because most of the people, those who will review your research proposal and the expert panel who will finally look at the reviewer comments and your research proposal, they are very experienced in the field. So therefore, at no point you should try to hide anything. Make sure you clearly lay out that what are the things that has been done, what has happened so far, and what kind of new thing you are bringing into the plate. So please put some effort, and do not write the proposal in a hurry. It will be a wastage of your time. These are my two tips. If any of you would like to contact me, my email ID has been given. You are welcome to contact me anytime, and I will try my best to help. If you are not from my field, I will not be able to guide you through the proposal, but I can take a look and try my level best to give you some pro tips. Let's put it in this way. Okay.
Great.
That's
Thank you, Dr. Banerjee. Yes, thank you. Then my question to Franziska and then Hans. There has been one question which I would like to blend in here, is that for all these programs and opportunities, of course, information is available on the website. We can look at databases and so on. do you also have outreaches? Do you conduct online information sessions for interested people to for these applications? Programs.
Yes, so the DFG
You
is
both
offering...
also have offices, right? Sorry, maybe you could also put a word on the DFG office and the IGSTC offices, so the presence in India.
Sure. So the DFG is offering also some outreach activities, being it in person at some of the universities or institutions, but on the sidelines of that, also regularly webinars are offered for early career stages to come to Germany or interact with German scholars. So there are options. Have a look on our website in regards to that. We also try to put it in the necessary newsletters or in social media if this is upcoming, so that you can be aware of that. And on the sidelines of that, as Adishri said, we have an office in New Delhi. A colleague of mine, Vaibhav Agarwal, is also with us today here in the audience. And he and myself, we would be your first point of contact in regards to questions about Indo-German collaborations or Indian researchers who would like to spend some time of their research career in Germany. Feel free to reach out. We will not be able to pair you one-on-one with a German researcher, but we can give you hints on in regards to funding instruments where the DFG would be a perfect fit, or whether any of the other organizations might offer some funding opportunities for you. So use us as a contact point. Either one of us is able to guide you along the way and bring you the colleagues who might be of the best help, because we are in these rounds a lot of times and we have a rough understanding about what the DAD is doing, what AVH is doing, what IGSTC is doing. So use us as a point of contact to get more information. But then, as I pointed out, at least the DFG will not be in a position to give you the contact to Germany, to not give you your next host. This is your work. You have to look into that. As Anurupa pointed out, look into research papers, look on conferences, get in contact with them. And once this is figured out, we'll have options for funding for your research stay.
Perfect. Thank you, Franziska, for that offer. Hans, do you have any inputs for IGSTC?
Yeah, so maybe first there was this question about how to find a partner in Germany, and we are actually not really allowed to interfere in this process, because once we recommend someone, we exclude others, and this is enough to make the whole process unfair. I always tell people, go to Scopus or some other research journal inventory and look for publications in your field, and then you can filter by nationality of the authors. So this is how you can have first ideas about people who work in the field in Germany, and you can do a simple Google search for institutions who are active in the field, and then you can browse through their website and get a better idea of what they do, whether it fits your research interests, and so on. What was the question actually, Adishri? Sorry, can you repeat that?
The question was, somebody was curious to know that all of this information is available. It's also databases online, all of that.
Outreach,
and
yeah.
IGSTC
Sorry.
does a lot of outreaches in India. I mean, as also in Germany.
Yeah.
Can you say something more about that?
It's the outreach activities are mostly done by our India office. So we have an office in New Delhi in Technology Bhawan, close to DST. We have a German office which is much smaller in staff in Bonn, Germany. And the India office did many outreach events, physical outreach events, and many cities all over India were visited. We have social media activities on LinkedIn, on X, and also through our website. On the German side, we had virtual outreach events like once per year. We haven't done that for a while, but every time we have a call for proposals for 2+2, we usually have info events, a pitching session where people who look for partners can pitch their research idea and tell people about their research institute. And usually we offer a platform called B2Match through which you can find partners. You create a profile or research idea, then you can browse through all the other profiles, and when you have a match, you can agree for a meeting and find out whether it's a suitable partner or not. Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you, Hans. We have also taken already, so for the audience, I've tried to take most of your questions in for questions related to where can you find more information on these programs. We've shared some links for you. And we also have a session from DAD for PhD programs on 28th of October. So if you would like to attend that, please register for that. I've pasted a link right now in the chat option for you. For those who are interested in knowing more about opportunities for researchers, especially in entrepreneurship, for startups, some of you have mentioned research in the field of innovation and so on. We also have a web talk series, web talk planned tomorrow, which will have also IGSTC avoidee from the WISER program, who would also be a part of it, and some incubators in Germany who would then give you more idea on how you can take your research to the market, what opportunities, funding. This is targeted more at women researchers, but I'm sure some of the programs would apply to everybody. So if you're interested in that, please register. There's also the link that has been posted in the chat. As we have with all of this discussion, given plenty of information already to our audience. Now I am only left with saying, please look up the links. Please do your research and then apply for these funding programs. Information is available. You can check out the DWIH New Delhi's page as well, where all these German stakeholders are also present. Follow our LinkedIn page, where we regularly post call for applications, vacancies in Germany. And with that, I'm left to say thank you so much to the speakers. Thanks for taking out this time. This was a really helpful session. We went through all the details, gave the audience a very good overview on the available opportunities. And thanks so much to the audience as well for sticking around for this much time, for your questions. All these organizations are available for more information, for taking up your specific queries. So do look that up. You would have also seen on your screens right now a short poll. We would like to know your feedback about the session. If there's anything that you would like to include in the next one, please also reach out to us. Then thank you so much. Have a nice day or a nice evening from us, and see you next time. Bye-bye. Thanks, Hans. Thanks, Franziska. Thank you, Anurupa. Thanks, audience. Bye-bye.
Thank you.